Welcome to Future Electric Services video presentation. 7 common electrical problems at home. In today's world, electrical problems can happen at any time. Whether it be a blown circuit breaker or a faulty outlet, the results are often the same: a broken appliance or electronic device and hours spent waiting for an electrician to come to your home or office. Malfunction can't avoid any easy fixes that you can perform yourself before calling in a professional service. 24-hour electrician in Sydney can fix any electrical problem and solve any problematic issues at the most competitive rates. Circuit overload. It is helpful assurance that things are working correctly. Sometimes when people replace the wires in an outlet, they might not be careful. It means that electricity might still go through it even though you have stopped turning on the switch. You should make sure to turn off the electricity so no electricity can go through it and cause problems later. If you've been using high-powered appliances for extended periods, it's important not to keep them plugged into outlets all day long, i.e., instead of unplugging and plugging them back in whenever they're needed. The same goes for digital products with built-in batteries like phones or laptops, which should be charged when possible rather than left perpetually connected to wall sockets. It is a common cause of an electrical issue. Rearrange your plugged-in devices so that the least power-consuming ones are powering up first. Sags and dips in power lines. If you've got sags and dips in your power lines, it's essential to get them fixed as soon as possible. A hang or dip is a localized drop in voltage that can cause more widespread issues down the line, like brownouts, a broader reduction of electrical supply. Lag is caused by an overload on circuits that causes some components to momentarily not receive enough electricity while others are receiving too much. It will happen when there are high energy demands on the grid, for example, if someone turns up their air conditioner during peak use hours. Repairing these minor problems can stop bigger ones from happening. Protective systems enable utilities to prevent power outages. The grid always receives electricity somewhere, so when a sag occurs, the system will reroute to avoid any disruptions. An outage can be defined as an immediate or planned interruption of electrical service due to equipment failure and may last for hours or days, depending on the location. Light switch is not working. If the light switch doesn't work, it could be a few things. The wire going into the electrical box might not connect to anything. Check inside the electrical box and make sure that all of your wires correctly hook up with backpacks. Make sure they're tightly screwed in place too. If you've got any loose connections, then tighten them up as soon as possible, because this can cause a fire hazard or worse if left unattended. When you flick on a light switch, pressing down, there should always be a brief burst of electricity before turning it off again. It is called an illumination time delay, so lights turn off after only being turned on briefly, preventing short circuits from happening. Sometimes, lights can be flickering even though you're not touching the switch. It means that electrical wiring needs to be checked out by a licensed electrician. Frequent electrical surges. It causes by poor construction and wiring. It could also result from faulty appliances or the household's power supply overloaded from too many electrical devices plugged in. Electrical motors are frequent offenders when it comes to excess energy consumption. They make sure any air vents have been clear of any debris. You'll want to check your electric panel periodically, because it can overheat if there is an issue with one of the circuits, like when they're not getting enough power due to heavy use or loose wires. The solution to frequent electrical surges is to regularly inspect your electric panel and appliances, wires for loose connections or damaged insulation, and circuit breaker or fuse box, which could cause power fluctuations in certain house areas. Replace bulbs that have burned out, since these can disrupt the flow of electricity in the house. Short circuit. All of the power must turn off before beginning your repairs. The simple way to know the circuit breaker has blown is to look at your lights and see which ones are on or off. If they're not working, there's no use in trying anything else until you turn it back on as a precautionary measure. Don't forget where the switch panel is. It can be hard enough finding things when everything works properly. The next step would be checking any loose wires or other signs that an electrical short may have caused this problem with the circuit breakers, like burnout light sockets. You might want to try turning some switches around or flipping them into different outlets so that you're able to find the right one. Death outlets. If there's no problem with the wiring, then you'll need to check for any signs of a loose connection. You can do this by looking at all of the wires in your electrical box and checking them against each other. Don't forget that they're not always just black or white. If everything checks out so far, but you still have something going on that doesn't seem right, it may be time to call an electrician. Electrical problems can become a more complex situation if left unchecked and may incur higher costs accordingly. You don't want them showing up without knowing enough about your issue, but with a hefty price on top of that, too, nonetheless. Grounding issues. If you're having an issue with a grounding wire, then the first thing to do is check all of them. If any are visibly damaged or missing, this will need to be fixed before continuing your troubleshooting process. In order for electric currents to flow safely and efficiently throughout your home, they must have a dedicated ground wire that plugs into the ground port. Thank you for watching. For more information, please visit our website at https://futureelectrics.com.au/services/24-hour emergency services/.